So welcome everybody back. First of all, you won't know why I'm petty until you watch all of these episodes back. It is because I have the coach on the thumbnail and not like a player, and I'll explain
Oh,
right here in a minute. But welcome everybody back to my fan series where I get to talk to all fans from every single team, all 32 of them, and I have the lovely Rap here who was actually responsible for my new microphone and me stepping up my game a little bit. So thank you
oh,
for
let's
your
go.
input and your help and all of that. And so we're obviously here to talk about the Vikings. And so I'll let you introduce yourself. Before you do that, I want to tell everybody I will add you as a collaborator to this episode. So we'll link on your channel if you choose to accept it. And all of your information will be in the description box below. I also, every time I go live, which, whatever, I always am talking about you. And I think people think I'm insane. So now, if you've heard me say that, this is the person I've been talking about. So his information will be in the description. So I encourage you to subscribe, listen, join, all of those good things. So I will stop talking. Nobody's here for me. Everyone is here for you. If you want to just introduce yourself and let us know how long you've been a Vikings fan, anything you want to share.
Yeah, so I've been a Vikings fan since 1999. And, first of all, I want to say it's a pleasure to be here for the second year in a row. I always give you your flowers for this whole project that you do because as a creator myself, I can understand how hard this project is and how much you have to grind to get somebody
Mm-hmm.
from all 32 teams. And, it is an honor for me to be able to represent the Vikings. And I'm sure
I
my
love
community appreciates me representing the Vikings because I'm gonna do it the right way. So if you do want to follow me, it is Vocal
that.
Vike across all platforms.
Love it. Okay. Since 1999. So I'm being a little petty here because I'm mad at the Vikings right now because I have been welcomed by the Vikings community. I
Mhm.
am, you can't see it on the screen, but on behind you, there are signatures and stuff, and I'm on there, okay?
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
And I'm just not very happy right now. Okay. I need to see some changes. I need to see some improvements. So
Mhm.
we'll leave Justin Jefferson where he's at because he is Justin Jefferson and he's good. But I put KOC on there because he deserves to be accountable for being on there. I'm usually doing players, but
Mhm.
for the Vikings, I'm like, I'm putting the coach. I need the coach to step up.
Yeah.
So that is why he's on there. He's responsible for that offense. He's responsible for running the football. He doesn't. So I'm mad at him. So he is my thumbnail. So for those of you that are not aware of what's happening in Vikings land, I am. And that is why he's on there. I need better from him.
We're gonna
So
try not
there's
to
that.
cook them. We'll try not to cook them during this episode.
Yeah. You say nothing. I got it. So awesome.
Really fought a hold it
So
there.
yeah. So having said that, how are you feeling being a Vikings fan right now? So got rid of the GM. That was kind of a weird timing. Got in Kyler
Mhm,
Murray. Got some interesting
mhm,
things going before the draft. How
mhm.
is it right now being a fan? How are you feeling?
It always feels good for me during this time of the year because the season you tend to close that chapter, you move
Yeah.
on and you look forward to the season ahead of us. So, just as a fan, it's always a good feeling because now everybody's on the same playing field. Everybody's 0-0, and
Yeah.
just the excitement starts to build up from here. This is like, at the moment we're shooting this episode, this is like the
Mm-hmm.
real off season is beginning, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
things are gonna slow down, and now it's just all about just man, I can't wait till July, into July when camp start and all this stuff starts, so you can get back into the flow. But I feel really good. I feel really good being a Vikings fan right now, as I always do around this time of the year, just because that's
Yeah.
just the type of fan I am. I'm always going to go hard for the purple and gold, and I'll get mad at my team too, and get
Yep.
emotional when they do certain things like there's moves being made behind the scenes now that are a little frustrating, and I express that. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I'm lit right now. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me. I always say, like, it's like a family. I am going to yell at my team. I'm going to be frustrated, but don't you dare. Like, I will defend them to you, but let me
Yeah.
be mad. Like, you can't be like, leave them alone. But
Yeah.
so I understand that completely.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the draft. If you had one word that you could describe the draft, what one word would you use?
Intentional.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the best word that I could think of. Even after the draft was done, like that was just the word that popped up in my head was just being super intentional. And for that, and I'm big on that. So I really
Okay.
love that as a fan of the team. I love the intentionality of because we always, as Vikings fans, we know we need the trenches.
Yeah.
We've been screaming for the trenches for a long time. And this draft class right here, it shows, right? You had tackle, you had 2 defensive tackles, one offensive tackle, 2 defensive tackles, and a center at the end of the draft.
Hmm.
So, intentionality at its best. So I love it. That's one
Okay.
word.
That's a good word. Oh, that's a good word. I like that word.
If you like this video, now is a perfect time to take a second and hit that like button and leave us a comment in the comment section below.
So, is there a day 2 or day 3 pick that you think could end up being a steal?
Yeah, my boy, Damon Claiborne. Damon Claiborne. So here's a funny story, right? So when I was scouting running backs that I wanted the Minnesota Vikings to go after, because I'm a huge Dalvin Cook fan, and I think
Mm-hmm.
when he left, I feel like we've been missing that home run threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Damon Claiborne did early homework on him, and I was like, yo, I want the Vikings to draft this guy because I think he can make a difference. And I think he'll be somebody who can challenge Jordan Mason, challenge Aaron Jones to possibly be the running back one in 2027. And when I seen we had him on a 30 visit, and I was like, all right, there's a good possibility. When I seen his name come across the ticker, I was happy. I was like, yo, and
Okay.
I compared him. The funny story is I compared him to Jameer Gibbs. Well, there were people that
Oh,
were like crucifying me, like, bro, you're comparing Damon Claiborne to Jameer Gibbs, a day 3 pick to a Jameer Gibbs, man, you have lost your mind, and
yeah.
I took the flack for it, but I still stood on business. And it's funny, after we drafted him, the reports came out that the word around the NFL now is Damon Claiborne is similar to they called them the Diet Coke version of Jameer Gibbs and Devon A. Chain. So I'm like, okay, cool. At least the name's there. So I'm like, who
Yeah.
are the people around the NFL? RAP? Because I said that back in February. And it's funny that now it's coming out. And if for people that don't know, we brought in Frank Smith from the Dolphins, who obviously had
Okay.
Devon A. Chain. So again, this goes back to the word that describes the draft class, and it's intentional. And
That's
it
fair.
all plays a part right there. So I think he's gonna be a steal. He's gonna, man, he's gonna surprise people. I'm happy about him.
Yeah. I have a theory that people that do draft things that are in big media, they look at the top 100 because they know those guys are going to go in the first round.
Yeah.
And it's one of, and I feel like they find those guys and they're ready for day 2, but they don't really know these players like they act
Yeah.
like they do. They
Yeah.
can't, I watch a ton of football and I barely do. And I know they're
Yeah.
not watching as much football as me. Like
Right.
there's no
Right.
way.
Yeah. It's hard to
So
do that. Like,
it
that's
is.
for me. Like, how I handle that really flawed. And you do amazing at it because you go and watch so many different
Mm-hmm.
players. See, usually what I do to keep it easy for me, the type of creator I am, being Viking centric, is I usually find like maybe 4 players, 3 to 4 players that I really, really want my team that are realistic,
Perfect.
right? Like if I know
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be the #1 draft pick or even top 3, top 5, I'm probably not going to do homework on you because I know the chances of you joining my favorite team are slim to none. So it makes no sense. I'm not going to waste my
Right.
time. I'll just get the little clips and stuff that other people are posting about you. But if there's players that I'll find like 3 or 4 players that I know for sure there's a realistic chance that my team can draft them, that's what I do. I pick that, and then I just pound the table for those said players
Yeah.
throughout the draft process. And that's kind of how I operate. It's been working. And it's funny. So Ivan Pace was one that I was pounding the table on, and we got.
Okay.
And then Damon Claiborne was another one that I'm pounding the table. Now, pounding the table months before the draft comes around. So it feels
Yeah.
good when the players that you actually picked, they actually come to your team. It's amazing.
I think that's a great approach. I sometimes I have player overload in the sense that I see them and I'm like 17 Penn State. Okay, I remember him making a tackle. So so
Yeah.
it's weird for me, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a great approach. I always just say, like you said with the word intentional, just be intentional about what you're looking and thinking about. It's okay if you don't see everybody. It's
Yeah.
okay. I just
Yeah.
feel like so many people act like they do, and then they have an
Yeah.
opinion. I'm like, oh, I can tell you didn't watch them. Okay,
Right.
cool.
Exactly.
Just by what you said, I can tell you have no clue. Got
Yeah.
it. So
Exactly. Like, exactly.
fair.
And I'm big
Yeah.
on not acting like I know, you know what
Right.
I mean? And that's what makes it
Yeah.
better for me is, honestly, I don't want to be that person. So, and I think
Mhm.
I'm okay with that. I respect the people that do put in the actual work though. Like
Yeah.
people like you, people that
Yeah.
actually put in the work because that's the agenda they're pushing. See, me, I'm more of like, I always try to say, I'm just like every other Vikings fan that just happens to have a microphone in front of my face. And I just express my emotions on camera. But sometimes, I'll get some insider information and
Mhm.
stuff because I do have connections now. They're starting to build as I've been doing it. So, I will get information a little ahead of certain people and stuff and be able to break it to my community. But for the most part, I'm just a fan. I say Vocal Vike where the fans have a voice. That's my new slogan. So Yeah.
Okay, shout out to the new slogan.
Let's go.
Yeah, there's 3 teams that I feel like I know, like, obviously I know my team, but then the Eagles, I pay attention to all things Eagles. I don't know why, it just kinda comes across. Maybe it's 'cause the Steelers are in Pennsylvania and it just kinda
Yeah.
feeds me that. But then
Yeah.
also I watch all of your content, so I feel like
Yeah.
there's 3 organizations that I kind of know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know more about the Steelers than anybody else, but there's certain
Yeah.
things that I know about everybody else's.
Yeah.
And then I have the biggest cheat sheet ever.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I learned.
Thanks. I feel the same way
Yeah.
about you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. So awesome. So, okay, who is one player from the draft class that you're like, okay, this guy is going to make the biggest immediate impact?
Dominique Orange for us. I think
Yeah.
Dominique Orange was a really good pickup. Again, being intentional with defensive tackle. We let go 2 defensive tackles this offseason in Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen. So, you got Caleb Banks, which I know people will say, well, he's probably gonna he's the first round pick. He's gonna make the biggest impact. I think the type of player Dominique Orange is more critical to what we actually have been looking for, that true nose. And I think he's going to make a huge impact, step in right away, and really just start making plays over all across the field. So I like that pickup. Dominique Orange, to me, hands down, is going to make the biggest immediate impact.
Okay, shout out to that. Is
Yeah.
there a
Big
player?
Citrus.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think you
like,
know about Big Citrus. Come on.
yeah, no, I do. And he was one of the draft picks that I really did like
Yeah.
for you all. I was like, I think that's a really good pick.
Yeah.
Is there a player your team passed on multiple times that you think will come back to haunt you, that you were thinking, okay, like this is a moment, and then you just didn't get him?
So this was a great question, first of all. And I really sat and thought about this question the other day when you sent this. And I'm really trying to find somebody, but I
Okay.
can't I wanna twist it just a little bit, but it still is
Okay.
gonna be aligned, right? I think the player is in the first round. And I'll say this. Everybody leading up into the draft had us going after Dylan Thieneman. Okay. Everybody projected Dylan Thieneman or Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. We're going safety for sure because Harrison
Okay.
Smith is going to retire. Well, funny enough, we pass on Dylan, but then it's about the team he went to, and that's Chicago. And nobody really thought that Chicago was going to go after Dylan. Like his name really wasn't, swirling around Bears news. So to me, I look at that pick like there's something weird about it. There's something funny about it. And will
Yeah.
he make us pay for the next 10 plus years being the Bears safety? So,
Yeah.
we didn't pass multiple times on him, but we passed that one time, and that one time, maybe it'll
Was
come
enough.
back and haunt us. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. So heading into this season, you have I don't know if it's not a quarterback controversy right now because we're in the off season. It just kind of is what it is. But obviously,
Yeah.
Kyler Murray coming over, and there's just a lot of things happening. I'm not here to tell all the things that are happening in the Vikings world,
Yeah.
but knowing all of those things, how do you feel? What is success for you this year? What are you thinking about? What are you hoping for? What are your thoughts so far?
I'm hoping that we make the playoffs. I mean, I think every team, that's kind of where it's at
Well,
right there.
Not every.
Well, yeah.
team.
Well, every team wants to, but the realistic expectations. See, I think
Okay.
realistic expectations for our team, when you look at the roster, you're gonna say, all right, the Vikings should be making the playoffs.
Okay.
Like they have a coach that gets hyped up. Everybody talks about how great of a coach he is. You have, he's the quarterback whisperer. We just brought in Kyler Murray. We have Justin Jefferson, arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL if he gets the right quarterback. I mean, you got Brian Flores, arguably the best defensive coordinator. I mean, the Vikings should be a playoff team at least. I'm asking for a wild card at least. Come on now. I don't feel like it ain't like me talking like I'm a Jets fan. Shout out to my mama. She a Jets fan. Don't kill me, mom. But, like it ain't like I'm a Jets fan trying to say, oh, yeah, we need to make the playoffs and win 2 playoff games and make the AFC champion. Like, listen, bro, come on. So that's kind of what success looks like for me. And I think, a lot weighs on Kevin O'Connell to make that happen because when you look at the NFC North, he is the only coach now in our division that hasn't won a playoff game, but yet he gets the most hype. Okay. You got Brad Johnson or what's his name? Is it Ben Johnson? Yeah. Ben Johnson comes in, wins a playoff game off the back, right? Like wins one at least. You got Campbell, and then obviously LaFleur.
Yeah.
All of those coaches have won playoff games, some multiple. Kevin O'Connell keeps getting hyped up about being the best coach. He's this, that, and the third. Listen, we're going on season 5. Let that sink in. This needs to happen this year. That's what success is going to look. That's what a successful season will look like.
Okay.
Will be us going to the playoffs and actually winning too, not just
A
making.
game.
We got to win. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a petty question for you. Do you remember who told you that the Chicago Bears this year were going to be good and that Caleb Williams was a great quarterback?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. You know, hey, look, I'm never gonna hype up the Bears. And forget the Bears. All right. I wanted to use another word, but I'm not. I forget the Bears. Forget the Bears, Packers, and Lions. They all can kick rocks. You know, I'll never
fair.
give them. But from a football standpoint and from just being realistic, you were right about that. I slept on them. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I was wrong. I think, and I do believe they're gonna probably be a challenge for us for years to come. I do think Ben
Yeah.
Johnson actually is gonna do a great job there.
Yeah, I always say I don't put my foot down for a lot of things,
Yeah.
but sometimes when I see it, I'm like, I don't know, it just looks really good. I know. Like,
Yeah.
so
It does. You're
awesome.
right.
So and it never hurts when someone says you're right about one thing in life because I've been wrong about 97 million things. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Which position group worries you the most out of all the positions?
Quarterback. Obvious for the Vikings because although we have Kyler Murray, right? You look at it like, well, it's Kyler Murray. I mean, the majority of people still are like, he still has to prove something. Like at the end of the day, he still has to prove that he could still play at a high level, although we believe he can. And then obviously JJ McCarthy, you got JJ McCarthy, which is that's a whole nother story. So and we need that we need to have average quarterback play at best just to be able to do what we talked about, what success would look like for our team. And so it's super important for the quarterback position to hit. You know, I would love a 2024 rerun with Kyler Murray almost looking like a Sam Darnold resurgence. I think that's possible. I actually like Kyler's skill set better than Darnold's coming in, so I'm a little more excited. And but that's the one that worries me the most for sure.
Is there a quarterback competition, or have they said Kyler Murray is the guy, or are we just not talking about it until it's time to talk about it?
So they call it a competition. I think they're doing they're doing that because they want to try to keep it fair and maybe not to discourage JJ McCarthy. I mean, the reality is, to me and to a lot of fans, are if you're not like a JJ truther, because you do have JJ truthers who, no matter what, they're gonna say, "Oh no, it's a competition." The reality is this: it's Kyler Murray. It's his job to lose. All right. But Kyler Murray's the QB1. Like right now, today, he's QB1 of the Minnesota Vikings. JJ still has to prove he could be a quarterback 1 in the NFL. See, Kyler has already proven he can be a QB1 in the NFL. JJ's still on that part of his career. Like, you know, can you even be a quarterback 1? Right. So so he has to try to win a job. All right. So yes, they're calling it a competition, but I think a lot of that has to do with just protecting JJ McCarthy's mental.
Okay. You know what? And I respect that. So, and you don't have, I always say, if you don't have to make a decision, don't make a decision. When people come out and make decisions, now I'm questioning why you made the decision already.
Right.
So, okay, that's fair. And the next question, well, I do have one question though about Sam Darnold. You're not a hater. I'm sure you're excited he won the Super Bowl. I got that. But as a Vikings fan, were you kind of like, wait, did we miss something there? Or were you still like, no, we made the right decision to let him move on?
I mean, he won the Super Bowl and he looked good throughout the season. So the truth is, yes, we made a mistake. But I still stood on how I felt. I felt like, you know, the team invested in JJ McCarthy with the 10th round, with the 10th overall pick. You had to do it. It was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do. Now, it didn't work out how it should have worked out last year, but the story's not over yet. The book is still being read. So at the end of the day, congratulations to Sam Darnold. The front office of the Minnesota Vikings looks stupid, but at the end of the day, as a fan, you shouldn't feel that bad. It is what it is. We got to move on. We got another opportunity though with Kyler Murray. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. To be fair, that's how I feel about the Ty Simpson pick. Today, right now, I don't like it. But in 2028, I might say that was the best draft pick they ever made.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
let's
Because
see,
that
let's
was
see how it
probably
plays out.
the most shocking pick.
As of today, it is,
Yeah.
right? And then,
Yeah.
like I said, it's the Rams. So maybe in 2 years or maybe even next year, we're going, you know what? That pick, that was really smart.
I'm
So,
telling you.
okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. So where has this team improved the most? Like if you're thinking about this team last year and then thinking about how you feel like they're going to be this year, what is something that you think they're going to be the most improved at?
I'm gonna say stopping the run. Um, Again, defensive tackle. When you think about Big Citrus and Caleb Banks, uh, I think stopping the run is something that we're going to get a lot better in. It's something that we really need to get better at for the multiple years, So this is again going back to being intentional. You going and getting two players that have proven that they can play at a high level. I know Banks is a little more. There's a little more uncertainty there because he's
Mhm.
more graded off of his just athletic ability, but because he's big, it's just
There's
like,
a
whoa,
lot of it.
this dude looks
Yeah.
like an athletic freak. He's huge, but can he put it together and be consistent as far as being
Right.
able to play defensive tackle at a high level? Now, but Orange, I feel like his build, big stocky dude, he's gonna plug the middle. And I think he's
Mhm.
shown that he can do that consistently at the college level as well. But
Yeah.
if we can get Caleb Banks to really tap into that potential, which I think Brian Flores will do, this stopping the run is gonna be fun to watch. I think
Yeah.
that's where we're gonna be good.
And it'll be helpful for the team overall. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think you all will do better more than most teams in the NFL?
Making field goals. I gotta give a shout out to my boy. Listen, I gotta give a shout out to my boy Will the Thrill.
I love it.
So when I read this when I seen this question, I said, this is my opportunity, all right, to
Yes.
shout out Will the Thrill because I feel like even on my show, I barely hype him up.
Yeah.
This kid, and I've kicked him while he was down when he had his injury. I was so quick to like get him out of here. We need a new kicker. And I feel like this is the perfect time. I'm gonna wait for this series. When I seen this question, I said, this is the time where I can hype my guy up and give him his flowers. We will be better at field goals. I'll be more specific here. 50 plus. All right, 50 plus field goals, 50 yards or more. Will be better than most teams in the NFL because Will the Thrill, he's going to be automatic. I can't wait to watch it.
I love it. And for context, because I watch your content, you actually gave him the team MVP, didn't you?
So he was our team MVP, and that was voted by our community.
Yeah, by the audience. Yeah,
and that's crazy, right? Out of the season we had, our kicker won MVP based on our community. That's wild.
But he
deserves it. He deserves it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have one too. I was saying it. I was pounding the table for our kicker, I think 2 seasons ago. I was like, he was the most consistent. He did his job every single time we needed him to. Yeah. So I was just saying that because I think some people might listen to this if they didn't watch that episode and might be like, okay, he's joking. But no, you're serious. Like,
I'm dead serious. Yeah, but it's crazy because you think of the Vikings, you're like, wait a minute. You got a team with Justin Jefferson on there. People that say Jordan Mason, the running backs, Aaron Jones, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, like the kicker won MVP. Yeah, the kicker. Will the Thrill. Shout out Will the Thrill, man. Boy is like that. For real.
I love that. So let's get to the fun round. And so you can either give me quick answers or you can give me your answer and then your reason why.
Yeah.
And so we'll start with quarterback confidence. This is going to be an interesting one. So 1 being, I have no clue what we're doing. 5 being, oh my gosh, I love our situation.
Yeah.
Where do you think you all are? 1 to 5?
3 on that. And the reason I'm at 3 is because they're like, again, I love JJ McCarthy. You told me a lot about him. You were like, I don't know, Rap. I think you're a little too confident. And I'm like, I don't care. I watched it. I like him. Yeah, I'm there. Thanks for talking me off the cliff there a little bit. And now I gotta face the music here. But again, I just don't know what he's gonna do. Honestly, I don't. I support him, but I don't. I'm being honest. I'm at a point now
I think that's fair.
I just don't know what to think about him. And then obviously Kyler Murray, will he be able to lock in and really be able to digest Kevin O'Connell's playbook and stuff? So right now I'm going to put it at a fair 3. That's kind of midway. Okay. We'll see what happens.
Respectful. I always say a respectful 3. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not taking you too far. Yeah. I got you, but not, but figure it out because I don't have time for this crap. Okay.
Exactly.
So who do you think is going to carry the team this year? Your offense or the defense?
Defense, easy.
Okay.
Yeah, easy. Defense
Easy.
always carries. Yeah, to me, Brian Flores always gets this defense ready to go. The
Yeah, he
offense,
does.
I know there's going to be ups and downs. Again, just even talking about the quarterback position, I just think this defense is going to drag us there for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. If you could trade drafts with any other team, they get all of your draft picks, you get all of their draft picks. Who would you trade?
I'm going to trade with the Jaguars. I like some of the, I like the Jaguars. I like the players on there that they picked this year.
Okay.
Again, I think they were super intentional too. You know, I kind of like when I was putting our draft side to side earlier, I'm looking at it. I'm like, you know, if we were to swap, let me make this clear. I like our draft better though. Like honestly, I do. But what I'm saying, I wouldn't mind getting their draft class because I think their draft class still fits our mold. One of my favorite players that they drafted was Jalen Husky at safety. Which he's labeled as a DB because he can do it all. I love Jalen Husky. He was probably one of my favorite players in this draft going into this draft. So
Okay.
for that reason alone, you know what I mean? I love him. I would definitely take him. I would be excited right now. So I'll say
Okay.
the Jaguars.
And I am going to do this because I'm going to. How did you feel about when Jacob Rodriguez went to the Dolphins? Were you like, oh, or were you
Yeah.
like, okay, or how were
Yeah.
you in that moment?
So bittersweet. My father is a Dolphins fan, but he's part of the Vikings community though. But like
Yeah.
he's he grew up a Dolphins fan. So I was a little excited about that because I can root for him without feeling
Yeah.
some type of way. Like if he would have went to obviously an NFC North team, it
Yeah.
would have been beef, right? It would have been I don't care what he
Yep.
does, I'm not rooting for the kid. But like since he's a Miami Dolphin, it's like, cool. I can still watch him and enjoy it. I was a little upset because obviously he was my favorite player going
Mm-hmm.
into the 2026 NFL draft. I believed he was a first round. He should have been a first round pick. He got picked super early in the second, so it still proved that people were sleeping on him. And obviously, the Dolphins valued him almost as much as I valued him. And I think he's going to be a superstar in this league. Watch Miami; he is going to set the league on fire, and I can't wait to really just tilt my hat to it when it happens, and be able to tell people, see. The Vikings
Yeah.
should have got him. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be fun to do. So shout out to Jacob
Okay.
Rodriguez, man.
Shout out to Jacob Rodriguez. If your
Even though
team could,
you didn't like him as much, you tried to talk me off
not well,
that
I
one
didn't.
too.
Yeah, I didn't like him I didn't like him in the first. I thought it was too rich in the
Yeah,
first, but
yeah,
yeah, I did a video on him. So if
yeah.
anybody wants to see it, you can see it. And I was respectful, and my
You was
concerns are still my concerns.
for sure.
And so, like I always say, all of these players, the great news, they can all prove me all
Yeah.
wrong, and I could be 100% wrong on all of them, and that's okay with me. That
Yeah.
is why we have opinions. It's just
Exactly. But
it's
I
to
will
see-
say too, though, you know, the way you evaluate and the way you lay it out, usually you're right. I'm not saying you're 100% right all the time, but the way you do your processes usually play in your favor. So, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that. You know, usually,
Well,
I mean,
thank you.
yeah, you've been
And I
right a lot
try.
about the
Yeah.
Vikings. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, because I always say my measurements are different. I use different
Yeah.
measurables with how I evaluate, but you
Yeah.
know, for better or for worse, everybody has a system. And some, like I said, you hit and then you don't, and then you do, and then
Yeah.
you don't. It's
Yeah.
just part of
Exactly.
this,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I love. So, okay, if your team had oh gosh, here we go again. This always happens. Same old Vikings, blah, 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 blah. What is that for you all? What is that moment where you're thinking, here we go again?
Oh man, you know, this was a really good question. This is something where it would be barely making the playoffs, being
Okay.
middle. Because here's the problem with being a Vikings fan. We're always like in the middle. And that can be a pain in the behind as a fan. Because you'll say, well, you're winning games at least, right? Because being in the middle is always winning 8 games, 9 games. Like you're always like right
Steelers.
there. Yup,
Mhm.
Steelers. But when the draft comes around, so a lot of times you're too far out of position
middle.
to get some of the top players. Yeah, but then like it's just and then you miss the playoffs too. You know, that's one of those things where it's going to be like, all right, we're towards the end of the season, 2 weeks left in the season, and we got to win out or something, or some
Okay.
team has to win out. We got to depend on another team, and they're going to wind up letting us down. That's the moment where it's going to
Okay.
be like, That's what always happens with the Minnesota Vikings, and it's irritating. And definitely the last 5 years, at least, with Kevin O'Connell. So hopefully that
Okay.
changes. I want to just be controlling our destiny.
Right.
Don't have to worry about it.
You want to be in there, period.
In there,
like we're
like
going.
somewhere.
We just don't know
Exactly.
what seed, but
Thank
we're
you.
going. Like
Thank you.
like the Bills. They're like, we don't know where, but we're gonna be up in there. So
Thank you.
y'all do whatever y'all need to do. So okay, that's fair. And then my last question is, if you could send a message to, well, the question is to the team's owner, like what would you say? Some people have taken this to say anybody within the franchise. Some people have asked the GM. I know that that's, you all are working through that.
Yeah.
So you could send it to the owner if you have the message, or you could choose whoever it is you want.
If I could tell the owners one thing, right? And this is today. Today is, what's today really? Is it May
2nd?
May 2nd. Okay. May 2nd, right now, today, as we're doing this episode. And I've had so much fun on this episode. This is great. There's some news swirling around Vikings Nation right now that is unacceptable. Okay. So if I could tell them one thing right now, I would say no to Ryan Grigson. Can I kind of cuss on here? Hell no to Ryan Grigson. Absolutely not. If you do that, you are going to destroy this franchise. You absolutely do not consider this guy to be the general manager of my favorite team. Because why? Well, I'm going to be pissed. And then we already see the temperature of the fan base now, just from the report that came out saying he's actually being considered is already enough where the fan base is pissed off right now. You're ruining our parade right now because we're all happy about the draft. We feel good about it. And then you bring this out and it's like, wait a minute, you're going to let Ryan Grigson have an opportunity. I don't even know why he's the assistant GM at this point. So that right there, I would tell the Wills, hey, listen, if you think about making him the general manager, this would be the worst mistake you've made. You might as well sell the football team.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think that AI told them to do that?
I'm telling you, golly, I didn't even want to bring that up. I didn't want to bring that up. But yeah, like, come on. Come on. So yeah, funny. I don't think talking to the owners right now, me talking to the owners right now would be a good thing. All right. Because it ain't going to be.
It might though. Man. You know what's funny though? In life, I always say, we always think that people in these high positions know everything, see everything, have thought through everything. And sometimes they actually don't. Yeah. And so sometimes whenever you do provide like something where you're like, have y'all thought about? And they're like, no, like they don't know. So that's why I always tell people, say something. Yeah. If you see something, say something because you might help save something that you don't even know is brewing because nobody thought about it. But yeah. Well, okay. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on concerning the Vikings that you wanted to either talk through like I'm your therapist that you wanted to even talk about?
I gotta express to you this. All right, being a Vikings fan, I need you right now.
I know, I said that like a therapist. That's amazing. Yeah. Shout out to therapists, by the way.
I'm telling you, shout out to therapists for sure.
Seriously, is there anything else that you were hoping that we'd talk about or bring up in this conversation?
I think this is why you're so great at what you do, because I think you covered everything that needs to be talked about, and this gives the audience a good feel of how fans feel, because I want to make this clear. I'm not only speaking for me. I feel like I'm speaking for a group of people that we call the Purple Gang that I represent. And, our community, a lot of the times, yes, these answers also are from my feelings, but I do receive a lot of feedback from my community and like to bring it and use opportunities like this to also let them get their words out and how we feel. And the answers you heard today, these are answers that this is how our community feels about our football team. I think we hit it on the head. Great questions leading into this season. And I can't wait to watch this again, because the last year we did it. You let the season play out and you go back to these episodes and you watch it like, where was my vibe? How did I feel? And you're like, wow, I got that one right. But that one, oh man, wow, I got to change it up. So, again, great show. I love how you put these together. What an amazing episode.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And there's two reasons why I love to do that. Well, there's a lot of reasons, but big media, forget them. I don't think they cover things correctly. They don't know about their teams. But I also, too, selfishly, I watch so much college football. I love hearing how fans are receiving their guys coming into their team, because I, had that experience with them. But then the other thing is we're all fans of football. And there's so many things that are happening in these spaces that let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. And this is a good reference point. If people are going to play fantasy football, if people are going to figure out like who they think is going to win their, like whatever, these are great opportunities for people to learn about their teams. And what I have learned is the views come from conference fans. So once I announce a conference, it's like that. All of the fans I know that are in that conference are like, "Hey, I'm tuning in this week." Like, so it's nice just to hear. And then when the schedule comes out, people will go back and watch the corresponding episode for that team. So it's always like this cool cross collaboration that happens in the ecosystem. It's like it's amazing. So
it is.
I appreciate. Yeah. And I appreciate you always being supportive. You're always there anytime I'm like, hey, I don't know. Hey, I have a crazy idea. Hey, do you know anybody? I don't know. Like, I'm insane. I know.
No, I got you. I appreciate it. You know, you keep me on my toes as well and keep me motivated, inspired. Again, because not everybody can do this. People don't realize like this thing we do called content creation, especially doing it for football, is harder than a lot of people think. And, you know, a lot of people think, oh, you can just turn the camera on and get the mic. And I encourage people to do it if that's what they want to do, but understand what you're getting into. And this is a grind, you know, and the people don't realize how much work it takes, especially to do this type of series that you're doing, which is amazing. And I don't know if I don't think I could do it, you know, like this is tough. And I love that. I'm glad I'm a part of it, you know, and I'm glad we've built a friendship over the past, I would say what, year and maybe at least
it's been about a year. It's been about, it's probably been a year actually.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, this has been amazing. I'm so glad I was able to meet you and link with you. And this is just the beginning, you know, we just getting started. So thank you. Y'all make sure y'all support Really Floss. She deserves it. For sure.
Yeah, and you were on my 100th live episode. I've been on your channel a couple of times. So I think that is the joy of content creation, is the collaboration sometimes, is the like, hey, what do you think? I know what I think because I'm so far in this, but like I need somebody else's opinion that's not so far in this, because you're going to say things I never thought about because you're not in it like me. So I love that. And I just appreciate anytime we get to collaborate, anytime I reach out to you, even if it's me telling you how amazing your thumbnails are, because I do think you have the best thumbnails ever. And and my caveat to collaboration is always what, like, I'm like, okay, I'll do it, sure, but you have to make the thumbnail.
I'm like, well, if that's all I got to do, I guess we can do it. Let's get it. I appreciate that.
So shout out to you and the work that you put in. Shout out to your community, for those of them that will be watching this, and they'll be in the chat, and they're phenomenal. Every chance I get, I tell them thank you. I appreciate all of them. They're amazing. So if you're listening to this, as I said at the beginning, all of his information is going to be in the description. I am going to try the collaborator thing as well. So it might even be even easier just to like click on his channel. So you can go to those things. And every week it is very interesting on what's going to happen on Friday. But lately you've been going live a lot. So lately I've been like, oh, save to watch later, watch later. I watched The Doctor on there. I mean,
that was a great episode.
I watched the guys get really excited and like fired up about the draft. Like I'm like, yes, please. I need all this content. So I appreciate
it's been a good run. Yeah, it's been a good run. You know, I've been enjoying the past couple of weeks. It's been great.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, we'll end on you. Anything you want to say, we'll end on you. And thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'll just say, you know, hey, thank you everybody who's watching this episode. You know, we appreciate you guys. Thank you to you for putting this together again. I know I've said that probably 10 times this show, but hey, you know what? It needs to be said and understood from everybody else. And, you know, we appreciate you tapping in with our community over there in Minnesota Vikings world, because, you know, you come in, you drop knowledge. You know, not only are you there as a friend, but you're also there as a resource to a lot of us as well. So, you know, for that, I appreciate you. And I just can't wait to see where this goes. I know this is a journey that's just getting started, and the sky's the limit, you know, for sure. So Skull Vikings, everybody, thank y'all for tapping in. That's a fact.
I love that.